Half menopause. Don't say that. I just told Dave how hot it is in this room, and he goes, I think it's just your menopause. Go fuck yourself. I'm 39. I'm like, look at him. I'm fucking boiling.
26 is not hot.
He goes,
You're a hot mama.
yeah. You hear that?
Hot mama.
He goes, haha, hot flush, mama.
Shut up. Perimenopause is a real thing.
Fucking 26 in this room. We've got like he's got thermometers everywhere. It's 26. That's a hot room.
Yeah.
I used to run my air conditioner at like 18 before I met Dave.
Oh, God. It's probably
Anyway.
too cold for me.
Well, hello, awesome people. Let me pull up the post. Sorry, I literally just got off another call with the conscious community. So did Martine and Christy. Oh, you're here. Cool, Chris. That's cool. And Amanda. Okay, let me just pull up the post. I saw we've got a conversation on technology. We know that, and I know you, Ebony. That's all good. Let me just quickly. Oh, yep. So Shara, I'm just going to quickly read. Give me 1 second, guys. I want to read Shara's, because you posted this while I was on the other call, so I haven't had a chance to look at it. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, awesome. All right, well, this will be good. First of all, let's do this conversation on technology. So I posted a video for you all to watch, and I believe that you have watched it. But above and beyond that video, so I don't want to cover the same information, so that way we've got more time and attention I can give to others. But I did want to, if there's anything outside of that video, Martine, you wrote about Tyler. Did you want to share? So you and Christy are basically the ones on the call that really need this. I mean, everyone probably does. But how do we support him through this to respect the boundaries before it gets to him lying and sneaking on? Okay, yeah, cool. Right. Yeah, right. Okay, so here's the thing. So Martine's basically said, like, her son has ASD, and I have mentioned when it comes to technology that ASD brains are different, and they like are more addicted to the dopamine hit. It's not technology itself. They have addictive behaviors, but it's because of how their bodies are really ruled by dopamine. And so, especially playing games and stuff, they get dopamine hits all the time. And it's hard for them to like, unplug from that. So she said he gets fixated and obsessed over most tech at some point, depending on what he's watching. Where I come unstuck is where he doesn't care about the consequence and will sneak on it, won't get off. Even if he loses the next time session, he'll lose 2 hours to get 30 seconds more time. Yeah, I get it. So he's so addicted. He's like, I don't care if I get 30, if I can just play for 30 more seconds now, even if that means I don't get my iPad for a week, I'll take the 30 seconds instead of the week. Yeah. Again, here's the thing. In that moment, and for as long as they're getting dopamine hits like this, they're not in neocortex, okay? We just talked about on the other call how that's the thinking part of it. They have no ability to even consider that a week without my iPad is a long time, and giving up 30 seconds now is better than not having it for. They're not even in a space where that even makes sense or can be processed with any level of logic. Why? They make pretty dumb decisions, right? It's like pretty stupid to take 30 seconds and lose it for 2 hours next time, right? So we have to realize in these moments, especially when they don't really care about, let me just mute everyone. Especially when they don't care about what the consequences are. Whenever your child in anything, when they don't care about what the consequences are, stop giving consequences. Don't look for a harder one. Stop giving any, okay? Because you're fighting a losing battle anyway. And all you're doing by giving consequences that they don't care about is losing credibility with them, to be honest. And also consequences, the difference between consequences and punishment is that consequences come under if they're effective consequences, they provide a learning experience. And the word discipline comes from the word disciple, which means like to learn, right? So if no learning experience is taking place, no discipline is taking place. Therefore, anything you're giving them is nothing other than a punishment. A punishment is nothing other than a tool for disconnection and to take them out of mammalian brain and put them in reptilian brain, which from that space, they can't make decisions, they can't think, they don't care, they have no compassion, they're unplugged, and all they do is see you as a threat, and they don't listen. Nothing works anyway. So do you see, like, we just perpetuate this cycle? Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't, like, even if he takes the consequence and, like, the next time he would have had the computer and stuff, he's like, goes, oh, you know, I wish I could go on my iPad, but, you know, it doesn't bother him anyway, like
Right.
the time off it generally. Like, it gets to the point that he's like, oh, I'm looking forward. He'll know the date that he's allowed to go back on, and he'll get a little bit excited about it, but he's not really distressed or upset.
And that's because it's not the iPad that he even wanted at the time. It was his brain was feeding him dopamine. And in that moment, if I'm on this game and these things are flashing and I'm doing this thing or I'm watching this thing and my brain, like, remember, the brain always wants to finish the loop. Like, the brain always wants to complete the cycle. So even if I'm watching a show, like, I need to know what happens. Like, that's the end of the cycle. Like, something's about to happen and I can't stop until I know what happens and how this all finishes, right? That's all being, it's not the iPad. It's dopamine. It's not what he wants physically. It's what he wants, like, chemically. And in that moment, the chemicals coming from the iPad. It's not about the iPad. The chemicals coming from the iPad. That's why later he doesn't care, he doesn't get the iPad. He's okay to deal with the consequence of that, because in that moment, he's not being fed on dopamine.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because it does actually explain when we're out and he's doing something and he can't walk away from it then either, or you know, something like that. And it actually helps my brain, because we all know that I have issues with technology and my fear, like, you know, my belief around it and stuff. But it does help me to actually separate his behavior from the technology side, so I don't see technology as being the problem rather than it's the dopamine. Yeah, interesting.
And then how you empower your child is to teach him this. Say to him, mate, by the way, it's never the iPad, you know that. It's only, so what, teach him what all of our brains produce dopamine. Read up on dopamine, like, you know, explain it to him in whichever way works for you, depending on the age of your child. But you can teach your child that their brain gives them dopamine at 4 years old. Like, when you have a lolly, the reason you want more isn't because your body wants another lolly. Your stomach doesn't want another lolly. Your pancreas certainly doesn't want you to have another lolly because your sugar levels are so high, it's struggling to release insulin for you. The only thing that wants you to have another lolly is dopamine. Like, literally teach them that, right? And so then what you do is you teach him. Then when that, it allows him to become aware of, like, his brain as though it's separate from him. So then when he's, like, fixated on something, you say, mate, there's no consequence, okay? So you don't he doesn't care about the consequence anyway, so you don't go in with the consequence. You go, mate, I'm not going to give you a consequence, but I am going to ask you to just acknowledge what your brain is feeding on right now and the reason you can't walk away from that. I've asked you 4 times, and there's a reason you can't walk away. You know the name of what that is. Can you just be aware of what your brain is feeding off right now? And so it leaves space for him to build an aware, even if he doesn't care what you say and he still wants to be defiant. You've still made a link. Your brain's looking for dopamine. Your brain's looking for dopamine. This isn't you. Your brain's, you don't even care about finishing the game. Tyler, doesn't actually care about working out what happens in the rest of this show. Tyler can deal with the fact that he can watch that tomorrow. Your brain is controlling you right now, and it's just looking for dopamine. And dopamine, show him what dopamine does to the brain. You can go on Google and you can just type, like, you know, a cocaine brain and a brain like with sugar. Because when you eat sugar, it's not sugar that makes your body go off. You eat sugar and then your brain releases dopamine, lights up the brain. It's not sugar lighting up the brain. It's dopamine lights up the brain the same way as cocaine does, right? And you might not necessarily want to introduce him to the idea of a drug necessarily, but just to see what's going on in his brain. Because then if you link that mate, your brain's on dopamine right now. I'm not asking you to get off the iPad. I'm asking you to detach from the dopamine. You can even say things like that. Mate, this isn't even about the iPad. Your brain's hungering for dopamine right now. And you need to be able to see what your brain is doing, and you need to step away so that your brain doesn't own you. Things like that all the time, like constant messaging like this the rest of his life. When he gets to the point where he's a teenager or he's a man and he's craving anything, craving PlayStation, craving sex, craving alcohol, craving just partying, craving doing something dangerous, you know, going and jumping off a jetty or just whatever, like there's like a craving to do it, he can go, fuck, my brain's looking for dopamine right now, rather than, oh, I really want to go, you know, go out and fuck some girls. He can literally go, my brain is fucking looking for dopamine right now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, you build all that wiring.
Yeah. What about those times where he actually, like, if I go out, because we, you know, he's old enough now that we leave him and Lani at home sometimes, for like an hour or so on their own, or I mean Lani longer, but and he like goes in and, you know, he sneaks into our room and he helps himself to the laptop or the iPad or whatever. Is there something, you know, is there something we can talk to him, or a way to talk to him about that? Because it's almost like it's crossing a boundary for us.
Yep.
But is that still like the dopamine, or like that needing that hit of dopamine? Is that what's potentially driving that?
In those moments, it might not. In that moment, it might be his, you know, his free spirit that likes the feeling of freedom, and rebellion is where they get freedom. And, you know, so how I handle those situations is I call it out. So the truth is the truth. So if let's say I'm you and we're about to go out and I know he's probably going to do it, I call it out straight. I don't say, now laptop's out of bounds. I'll go to him and, hey, our laptop is in our room. I know it's there. You know it's there. Dad and I have decided we don't want you using the laptop tonight, but we realize we actually can't control that because we're not going to be in the house. I'm asking you to please honor our request and to not go to the iPad. But if you choose to rebel against that, ultimately I can't control you. I'm asking you. I'm not controlling you. I'm asking you. Should you choose to go do it anyway, please be aware. Please at least maintain awareness on how much dopamine you're feeding your brain tonight.
Yeah.
And leave it at that. You can't control it. So I'm asking you. They'll feel more guilt if you've asked them than if you've told them. They will naturally have an internal guidance of more guilt if I'm not telling you, I'm asking you. I'm asking you to please respect me on this. I do feel violated when I feel like I can't even put something in my own room and I can't even have my own space that my own children won't secretly go and violate. That doesn't feel good for me. Ultimately, I can't control it. You're going to do what you're going to do. I'm asking you.
Yeah. Okay.
Should you choose to disobey that? Should you choose to that doesn't matter to you? If that's the choice you make tonight, at least be aware, at a minimum, be aware of what level of dopamine you give your brain tonight. So no matter what he does now, he's going to have a conscience about it.
Yeah. We had a conversation with him. I spoke to Stu today because I watched the video. And Tyler's been wanting a new iPad for a long time because we got one given to us years and years ago. And because some of the games or things he wants to do, he can't do on the iPad he's got because it's too old. And so I did say that I would look into potentially purchasing a new one, like through his NDOS and stuff, with the idea of potentially putting some support apps on there to help him with organisation or routines at home with that. But also I talked to him and saying about how you said a thing about it's not about us controlling what you're doing. Potentially we'll look to be able to give you more free access to it, and help you learn how to recognise within yourself when you've had too much when your body's not coping anymore. Right. Which I think is going to be, both of them have said to me on separate occasions, like both kids, that I feel like I maybe had too much yesterday. I actually feel a lot better today. So, and Lani and I had a conversation about that. She's definitely felt more present. And what you said in the video about them using it as a way to, hide away from the world kind of thing or suppressing that. And I said, it's interesting, Lani, if we look at when you have this influx of being on a screen, because she'll be on a phone or she'll be on the iPad doing stuff, said, you can see what's happening. I said, it's a good cue for me now to actually check in with you rather than worrying about the amount of screen time you get, is for me to actually check in with you and see what's going on for you. Maybe there's a reason why you're trying to hide from us, kind of thing. So,
good. That's so
Christy, Tyler's 12. Just asked a question. He's 12. Yeah. And this is, like technology with him has been a battle since the moment he got access to it. It's like, he definitely gets massive dopamine hits from it.
Absolutely. ADHD brains feed like crazy off it. And
Yeah.
they are compulsive and they are obsessive and they are addictive, ADHD and autism. ADHD is probably even worse.
Yeah.
They're addicted, even if it's like if Bea starts watching a show, she watched, give you an idea, she started watching This Is Us. Dave has like all the seasons on our TV, whatever. And she ended up watching something 8 seasons, 16 shows to a season. And she watched 8 seasons in like a month, 2 months, maybe 2 months. But she's here half the time. And sometimes she's got guitar and sport and she's not even home really. So much. But then at the same time, what I do is I go, okay, I'm going to pick my battles. I'd rather her sit on the couch where the family is watching a TV screen that isn't blue light and that's that far away. And while she's doing that, she's like forgetting about her friends and her social media and stuff. That's preferable to me, you binging on that, than you binging on a YouTube channel upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not so easy funny, probably because we grew up with TV. I'm not as fussed about the TV. They seem to cope better when they're on TV.
That's right.
Than if he's on like a laptop or an iPad or something.
Yeah.
But I thought at least if we get a new iPad, we can put some controls in there to help support him. If things start going too haywire, and a little bit of restrictions. So he Googles stuff, and I don't know what he Googles. He watches stuff on YouTube all the time through the TV too. The other day it was something about, it was like a forensic thing, and they were blowing up like different gel body parts with different weapons and stuff. And I'm like, oh, how did you find this? Like he's like very curious kid.
That's right. And they will find it anyway. They will find it at a friend's house, or one day he'll be 15 and you won't be able to control him and he'll go find it then. So that's why I say it's not about protecting them. It's about preparing them and going, okay, you're going to find what you're going to find. Just pay attention to all of these messages. You're doing it perfectly. And everything you're saying becomes his inner voice. When you're not around, his brain will replay these sentences that you've put in there. Like, just notice how your body's feeling, or just check in with yourself. Have you noticed you're a bit snappy this afternoon? Yeah. How much time did you have on your iPad this morning? Can you just pay attention to the mood you're in now and what you've been doing the last 4 hours? Don't ever give him the answer. Always leave it open-ended, and the brain needs to find the answer. So if you don't give the answer, he'll go looking for it. And because it's his thought, his brain will take it as a belief. If it's your thought, you can choose to reject it. But as soon as that thought is their thought, as soon as I think the thought and I don't listen to your thought, it has to be true, because if I think it, then it's true. If you think it, I can deflect it, right? So it's all like years of that, and you end up with the teenager you wanted, the healthy adult you wanted, who might have addictive behaviors, but is very aware of them. And eventually, like someone like Kerwin Rae, he talks a lot about his ADHD and his massively addictive behaviors with everything, drugs, alcohol, money, sex, the whole thing. And, like he had to learn, he's always aware of himself. Now he knows, if I start that, if I see these signs, or if I get this, I know I need to pull back. I know that. So he's monitors himself now, he's a 50-year-old man. But along the way, it's just the awareness. It's just that when you find yourself doing it, one day let's say like their girlfriend will have a go at them for being addicted to the PlayStation, let's say. So this is gonna be a pattern in their life. And when their girlfriend fires up at them and has a fight with them, or has an argument with them or whatever, and has a fight because they're addicted to that, in those moments, we want them to have a voice that's like that has an awareness of the ripple effect in their life as well. Does that make sense? Like because that's why I say we've got to prepare them, because this won't be the only time they're experiencing it. We want them to go, all right, maybe I am feeding off this. Why am I feeding off this? What's going on for me? Why do I not care about you right now? Whatever it might be. We want them. So these are all the seeds you're planting now, so that they automatically have all those thoughts later.
Yeah. I have taught Tyler that, part of his brain style is that it can get quite fixated and stuff. So we've had talks about that. He's aware that technology is one of those ones that does, but it's good that I can now explain about the dopamine side of it, and that, you know, and that will definitely help to extend his understanding about stuff and help me to disassociate it from technology, I think.
Look up, yeah, exactly. It is dopamine. And look up dopamine and look up norepinephrine.
Yeah.
Look up both of those and teach him about both of those, what they do to his brain and how that's how it happens. Because if one day he channels that in the right direction, go ahead and be addicted to your life purpose, to your passion. Like, you know, if you're going to, that's how your brain works and it needs a fixation, it's not a bad thing, but you're going to have to be heightened. You're going to have a heightened awareness on where you let your brain get that. Your brain's going to need it. You're not going to be able to stop your brain from needing it, but you need to maintain the power. If you tell your brain, well, here's where you can get it with your friends, you can get it on the BMX bike, you can get it over here, you can get it over there, then if you tell your brain where it's getting it, your brain will respond to you. But if you don't choose where your brain can get it, your brain will find it itself. And that's where your brain starts getting anything that it can that's close by or that it can access now. So either you control your brain or your brain's going to control you. So you're not ever going to delete this from your brain, but it's being able to go, I can see when my brain's doing it in an unhealthy way, and how can I put that into a healthy way?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really good too, because Lani has a little bit of I always saw it as a bit of a sugar addiction already. Like she definitely uses a bit of comfort eating as a way to manage like feelings and stuff. So that'll be interesting. I can like incorporate that kind of into her as well with the dopamine and stuff like that, and that she's using that to try and help her through stuff.
Yep.
So that'll be good.
And so there's it's called I used to teach it as the daily dose, right? So a dose of hormones. So it's dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and epinephrine. Okay. And so when you endorphins for the dose. So if they learn, I have tried to mention these words as often as I can so they understand, because anything that is dealing with the gut, so food is, so the brain is dopamine and gut is serotonin. And if she learns about serotonin and, you know, why her thing is to eat, to give her digestive system something, because 90% of serotonin is made in the gut. Yeah. And then if you've got a leaky gut, why that affects you emotionally so much, things like that. So look up dose and learn about all four of those things. You know what I used to do? I remember doing this with Amani and Bayo when we were in Merino. So there must have been like 10 and 12. And instead of giving them a job, like some chores to do, they wanted to earn some money this day. And I said to them, I tell you what you can do. I'll give you guys an audio to listen to. I'll pay you $10. The deal is you listen to the audio, you take notes on the audio, you come back and I'm going to have some questions that you need to answer, or you come back with your breakdown of that audio. And based on that, I'll pay you somewhere between 10 and $15. Because I'm like, if I'm going to pay you to do something, I'll pay you to fucking program your brain the way that I want you programmed, right?
Yeah.
And so I used to pay them to go. So in this situation, you could say to Lani, you want to earn some pocket money? I personally want to learn more about the dose, right? The dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. You go learn about it. You go work it out. You bring that back to our family conversation, and based on the value of the content you can present to us and teach us, I'll pay you for that. It's the best chore in the world.
Yeah, no, that's good. I like that idea.
It's better than sweeping the floors and cleaning the bins all the time. I still do that sometimes, but I just realized I don't really do that as much anymore. I need to do that more again. Just reminded myself. Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, I pay them to listen, or I used to pay money to read books. So she read like the 4 agreements when she was in like grade 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'll pay you for that. That's your job this week. Your job, read the 4 agreements. You want something? I'll pay you for that. Like, I will pay you to program your brain, because what you hear, like faith and belief and all of that comes from hearing and hearing and hearing. And if you're hearing it and reading it and hearing it and reading it, guess how you're going to think? Like the book. And Amani
Lani's been reading, like she listens to a lot of like, she listens to some podcasts, which is all kind of like, like crime or murder, like horror stories and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not asking you not to. I said, I'm just asking you to balance what you're putting in there. So if you listen to some of that, listen to some other things that are going to inspire you or whatever. She reckons it helps her with her anxiety levels and she's less scared of things while listening. And I'm like, I don't think that's true, but I don't know. And I'm like,
yeah, they can still do that, but do that and this. Like, it's like, well, you know, you're happy to go clean people's bins for $15. That's what my kids used to do, $10 for one bin or two bins for $15. So I'm like, if you're willing to do people's bins and that will take you a bit over an hour, I'll give you a 45-minute audio to listen to. Then you take half an hour to write your little report on that or answer some questions on that. And it's still an hour and 15 minutes and I'll pay you $15.
Yeah.
So you do it in your own pay or whatever, but it's definitely what you can, get them. And then they have to read, and then it's not you telling them this stuff; it's like someone else telling them, and so they receive it more. And anytime, I haven't done that for like a year, I reckon, or not very often. Maybe with Miami, I've done a little bit, but anyway,
4 agreements would be good.
Gave me my own reminder. What's that?
I said the 4 agreements would be good. I want to listen to that myself.
I tell you, I got Imani to read that. She was grade 6, and I swear she embodies that. She read that book one time. She never makes assumptions. She's like a very level-headed person, and I swear it's because she, without even remembering what the 4 agreements are, she lives them. She does not make assumptions. She does not take things personally. Even the bullying that she got earlier this year, didn't take it personally. Just like, well, they're going through some stuff. They obviously don't feel very good about themselves, do they? Like, wouldn't even retaliate because she's like, it says more about them than it says about me, Mum. Like, I know what your problem is, Like, it's just a natural thing. I swear it was because of how early I just, like, that book got into it. And a really good book for kids that can read short novels or that don't like reading much is called The Dolphin. Daniel the Dolphin, so hard to find. I had to buy like a used one. My dad got it through Amway like 30 years ago and gave it to me, and I always remembered it. And then I bought a copy, and my kids have read it 100. Like Amani literally read it 6 times. I gave it to them in like grade 2. As soon as they can start reading, like short novels, that used to be their book. And the school used to come home saying they have to borrow books from the library. And I'm like, go fuck yourself with your books from your library. They're all bullshit. They're all Babysitters Club fucking gossipy shit. My kids will read what I need them to read. And I literally would have to write letters to the teachers to say they won't be getting books from your fucking library unless I can come help them choose. Not at that young age. You're literally like imprinting them. Anyway, so Daniel the Dolphin was ours. It's called, it's called Daniel the Dolphin, The Story of a Dreamer. And it's literally a fiction, but it's all about life. It's like the sea. It's a dolphin that wants to leave the pod because he's got a dream to explore the sea on the other side of the reef. And in order to leave the pod, he has to go his own way. And every now and then when he's scared, the sea will open up and speak to him. And that's like God talking to you or life talking to you or your intuition. And like there were these quotes that were like when my kids are little, they thought it was the sea talking to the dolphin. And I'm like, this is life talking to you. This is like, it's so good. It's so good. It's about the courage to be who you are, to go your own way, to honor yourself, to return home, to know that you're loved no matter how far out to sea you go, and blah, blah, blah. So good. So yeah, I tell you all to read that. Get your kids on that. Daniel the Dolphin, The Story of a Dreamer. I don't reckon you can get it in bookstores. I remember trying to buy it for some birthday presents a while ago. You can't. I had to buy it off the internet like secondhand.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, get that book if you want some positive stuff in your kids' head. And I used to read it to Miami at like 7 years old. She wasn't ready. She wasn't good enough to read it herself, but she enjoyed me reading 3 pages a night or something. So it's literally a good storybook, and it's only short. All right. All right. Well, on this note, Christy, because you also had a question around technology, did you have anything further than that video, or where are you at on the technology discussion?
It's not so much technology itself. It's more of the mobile phone. So I have given my daughter a mobile phone for Christmas because she starts high school next year, and starting on with public transport was my big scary thing. Going back to work full time. I'm working as a teacher aide, so My
Right.
start time when the school starts times is at a different school. So she starts high school. The other 3 boys will go to a primary school. I'm then at the special ed school. So yeah, that's
So
my big.
what's your question? Like, should you give her one, or are you worried about something, or what?
I'm more worried about the social media side of things with the technology with going into high school. The bullying, the giving phone numbers out, like what advice can you give me regarding boundaries to set with a mobile phone for her?
So, number one, trust her with her own life, first of all. Okay. It's the biggest principle we talk about in the soul parenting program, right? So if you end up doing that, you'll get a lot of repetition here. But like, trust her with her own life. Now, Christy, this will be slightly challenging, more challenging for you than a parent that doesn't have what you like, the anxiety and the depression or whatever that you have. Okay. So parents like yourself that have, and there's not just you, by the way, there's heaps of them in this program. So I'm only singling you out because I'm talking to you, but it's going to be harder for you than someone who has grown up feeling very safe with life, believes life is, the world is a safe place, hasn't had any really traumatic experiences, have a level of confidence, and then that becomes the filter they see social media through for their kids. Okay, so it is going to be more challenging for you. Yes, you need to have some boundaries, but you can't use your fears and anxieties and your life traumas as a way to place that on her. And in your intentions, I want to protect you from whatever happened to me, kind of a thing, or whatever.
Yeah.
But actually you're imposing really limiting belief systems on her and teaching her the world is not a safe place. You better watch yourself. Someone's always out to get you, all this kind of thing. So there's a real fine line between balancing safety and not being the ones that, like the media, just fucking push fear into everybody. That's what we do to our kids when we're like, be careful of this. Don't give out your number. Don't go on this app. Be careful who you're talking to. Don't meet with someone. All of this, that's what we're doing. We're literally being the media. Okay.
Yeah.
So we want them to believe the world is a safe place. Are there some unsafe people in the world? Yes, but on the whole, the world is a safe place. And if you believe that and you live according to that belief, you vibrate at a level that essentially you're safe 99% of the time. The people who have very unsafe lives are people who basically believe and attract low vibrational experiences on an energy level. Okay. So it's not to discount safety, but you're going to have to balance that. With regards to social media, if you want now understand, I'm going to give you my opinion. This is not advice like I know what's best for a child. This is what I choose to do. And if it makes sense to you, I offer it to you. And if it doesn't, do not listen to what I'm about to say. You've got to go with what's also right for you. Okay. But my suggestion is if she's getting a phone and she's going to high school, she needs to be allowed to have Instagram and she needs to be allowed to have Snapchat. If she doesn't have and TikTok, if she doesn't have those 3 things, you are going to create a level of discord with her, because I'm telling you, all of her friends are going to be on those apps and they are all going to be in on group conversations and she won't be part of it. And the effect that will have on her at school and in her self-esteem and in her resentment towards you, that's going to be worse for her than what could happen on those apps, especially if you're keeping tabs and building a trusting relationship with her so that she can always speak up with you. So don't think you can give her a phone without her having some apps. And if you don't let her have some apps, whatever you choose, okay, I'd at least say Instagram and Snapchat. If you don't give her the chance to do that, what you're essentially saying to her is you can't be trusted. You're literally saying you're not a trustworthy person. That's not what you say, but it's going to be what she interprets. And if I believe that, if I believe my mum does not trust me, then I mustn't be a trustworthy person. And if that becomes a core belief I have of myself, then that's what I start to live up to. So guess what I do? Oh, well, you think I'm not trustworthy anyway, so I may as well deceive you. I may as well have some deception. I may as well lie. I may as well sneak. I may as well be, like all of this. I may as well do all these things, because what's the difference? You think I'm untrustworthy anyway, so I may as well be.
Yeah.
That's going to be the environment you set up.
And she already has low self-esteem issues and has trouble making friendships. And I really don't want to put that barrier up any higher than what it's
Babe,
up.
listen, every child is safe on social media so long as they're not going out and meeting up with people. It doesn't matter. Even if an actual fucking predator came along, if you've got a relationship where they can go, Mum, this guy's weird, or this something's weird about this, or something, like they're safe. If they're some things she needs to know is things like never have your school uniform in a video or something, because if someone is following you, if they know what school you go to, they know where they can find you. Okay, so little things like this, like, if you do a video at school, don't have the school in the background, the name of the school on the sign, because if people know where you go to school or they know where you go to dance or something like that, well, those could become quite, also like turning off your location and things like that. So no location. So talk to her about having her location set off on Snapchat. I ended up agreeing to allow they can have an option where they only the people they select know where their location is. So I'm okay. They've got their closest friends, family that we can all see their location. We use the Life 360 app. So that's another app that I would suggest that you use so that your, Life 360, that's what we use. There's probably a lot of good apps out there. So use an app that literally communicates with you every time her phone leaves a location, arrives at a location, like it sends you a message and lets you know where she is and when she left and what time she left and all that, so that if ever something happened, you could trace it back. But honestly, babe, on the whole, it is a safe place. The internet is not as scary as they try to make us believe. It can be, but this is where you want a child to tune into their intuition. You want them to believe in themselves. You want them to know that you believe they are trustworthy, because if they know you trust them, they trust themselves. They trust their own judgment a bit better. And when they feel quite confident with trusting their own judgment, they tune into their judgment, which means they're tuned in to what I shouldn't do and what doesn't feel right, as much as they're tuned into let's do this and let's have fun. That's the only thing that you can't keep your child safe. They can keep themselves safe. How they do that, basically, ultimately, is intuition.
Yeah. Okay.
People are good at faking who they want to be on the internet. So you need to have a vibration that doesn't even attract those people into your world to begin with, because they're just not even on your frequency. And secondly, just a trust for yourself that if, I don't know, something's even a little bit not right, I at least tell my mum about it, because my mum never tells me off. Even if I fuck it up, I'm never in trouble, which means I'm never even thinking twice if I should tell her that I met this person somewhere or I went somewhere or something, like all of that. You've got to have a trust relationship so that she feels safe to bring something to you. That's going to be what keeps her safe, not giving her boundaries and lockdowns and lock this up and limit this. And you can't have that. Won't keep her safe. That'll teach her how to be deceptive.
Can I just say that I've been through this with Lani. She's just going into year 10, but we gave her a phone when she went into year 8, so a couple of years now. And ideally we set it up, Christy, with it going, it's just going to be when you go to school, when you come home, it's going on the counter, it's not going to be your phone or stuff. That did not last. It did not happen. And she ended up having it in her room and being on it. And to be honest, the biggest issues we've had has been my fear of what her spending too much time on it, or she only has Snapchat. I don't think any of her friends really do Instagram, so they just do Snapchat a lot. She doesn't even she doesn't like TikTok anymore. She never really had it. She just liked the dances, but now it's gone different. She doesn't like it.
Yeah.
But
right.
She really just communicates with a couple of friends and stuff and keeps in contact with people. It really hasn't been as bad. There were girls that bullied her that were her friends, but because I gave her the trust and, we talked about this stuff a lot and I expressed my thoughts and feelings and stuff, she was able to come to me when that was happening, and she screenshotted the stuff and she, showed me the messages, and we were able to use that to help get the support she needed at school. And I ended up talking to the parents. But it's, by the sound of it, if your daughter's not like a big, one of the cool group kind of girls stuff, she's not necessarily, she'll probably just communicate with a few friends that she does make. And it's a good way for them to, like, she'll go and vent to her friends when she's pissed at me and talk to
Good.
them, and they give her support and stuff, so she doesn't feel so alone. So it's, yeah, much as I hate to admit it, like giving
that's
them
a
the
great
freedom and putting
contribution.
trust in them has actually been the best thing that, you know, that you can actually do. And it definitely helps. And if, you know, they make a mistake, then yeah, she will come and say something, or, you know, I find that she hasn't really done anything super stupid, because we've also talked a lot about trusting her gut and her intuition and stuff. And, you know, the only thing I did say was just never send anything, like no photos of yourself naked or anything like that.
Mhm.
But other than that, we just kind of, you know, rolling with it and see where it takes us.
My biggest fear, I guess, is with Ruby. She has trouble making friends, and so she'll do whatever she can to make friends. And for the last 3 years, it has landed her in strife. You know, like we've been suspended, we've been ended up in fights. So all that stuff.
My
So
response to that for you is what you're doing now, babe. The way to protect her from that, or to change that scenario, is not to keep her off social media because she'll go too far trying to make a friend. The way to change that is to heal her self-esteem. End of
Yeah.
story. Because even when it comes to bullying, don't think that just because your child's not on social media that they're not being bullied on social media. The next day they rock up to school, all the other kids have sent out photos of this person, or, you know, they've made up this bullshit about her and it's gone out to everyone, and she rocks up blindsided and doesn't even know about it, and everyone's laughing at her in the corridors because everyone else is on. So they can still bully her on social media even without her being on it. And they will. If they're going to bully her, they'll do it anyway, right? And like Martine said, at least if she's on social media and she sees it the night before, you can be there to hold her while she cries her little heart out. And you can say, babe, you don't have to go to school tomorrow. I'm going to keep you home. You're not walking into that bullshit. We're going to go and get these kids suspended. So you can actually protect her from the bully more than you expose her to the bully. Because if they're going to bully her, I've seen it. I've seen what they did, not just to Amani, but part of what Amani got bullied for was calling out bullies. Like even when she was in, you know, the cool group like her, let's say, like lots of people like her, but when they would do the wrong thing, she doesn't care if you're her friend or not. She really lives by her values. And when people were being mean to other people, she would screenshot that, and she would even send it sometimes to the person and go, letting you know, I'm taking this to the school tomorrow. I don't really care if you hate me for it, because this isn't cool. Fucking go and apologize and fix that. Otherwise, I'll take this to the principal. And she would, and she stood by that. And that got her a bit bullied in the end, because people were like, oh, but she's like, I don't care, mum, because if I'm being bullied because I'm standing up for what I believe in, I'm standing up for the one person that no one's standing up for, I'll do that every day. They can bully me if they want to. So she had that kind of attitude. But I saw in that process, she would show me the screenshots of what some of these people, they will make these little groups, like these little chat groups, and then the person they're bullying isn't even in the chat group. And what they do is they go to this person's Instagram and get a photo, and then they edit the photo and put some filters on it. And then they bring it over here and make her look like it's some kind of bush pig thing or something. And then it all goes around. And she's got no idea it even happened.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the world. That's the same as, you know, when we used to catch up with our friends down the street, and if you didn't live on my street, then you didn't catch up with these friends, and we all talked about you, and then we came to school tomorrow, and you got bullied at school tomorrow because we all caught up without you. It's the same. It's just, it's in their world. This is their world. We wouldn't have wanted our parents to not let us go down the street and play with our friends, and by that same principle, we can't let them not hang out where their friends are.
Yeah.
Because that's the equivalent of your mum telling you, how dare you go down to the basketball courts and hang out with your friends.
And then that's when you rebel, isn't it? As a child, like you just rebel, go, oh, fuck you,
Yep.
I'm going.
And then all she'll do is she'll just hate you. By the time she's 15, she won't even want to talk to you. Okay.
Is she going to a school where lots of other kids are going that were in her primary school, or is she going somewhere a bit more like
we're doing a fresh start.
Yeah,
got her new school, but really good with it's got an animal program, so she really responds well with animal therapy, so more hands-on learning stuff. So and that's what the whole big thing, my next thing was public transport. Like, oh my god, like she's going one way and I'm going another way. Like,
teach her how to use Google Maps. I taught this
going on public transport, and I don't know. I mean,
Google
he thinks
Maps, guys, best. Honestly, I don't care if you've got Apples, download Google Maps because
use Google
it's the best. Because what you can do on Google Maps is you can type in bus, train, car, walk, whatever, and you don't have to work out the time frame. I taught this to Nicole for Ella J recently in this group. You can put in, my mum said I need to be home at 6 p.m. or something. So you can put in, I need to leave here by 10, or you can put in, I need to arrive at the location by 5. And so if you put in Google, I need to arrive at this location by this time, Google works it out backwards and says, okay, at this time, you need to walk 200 meters to this stop, get on this one. And then as they're on the bus or whatever, they can also follow their phone and the little bus moves along to different dot points on the thing. So they know when they're getting off and it tells them anyway. And then it will say, walk 100 meters to this bus and then get on here and then do this. And Google works out, including the walking time from off the bus to the front door, what time and it works it backwards. So there's no excuses for you not being home on time. Oh, well, I didn't know what bus I had to catch. And then I got there late and the bus had already been and all this bullshit. You teach them how to use Google Maps is the best thing. And it tracks where they've gone. So if anything ever happened to them, that Google map is download. That's like, you can go log into their Google account and you can get that map.
Yeah.
So I've got her an iPhone. I'm an iPhone person. So do I set her up with a Google account?
Yep.
as
She'll need a
well?
Gmail.
So
She'll need a Gmail account and then use Google Maps.
Yep. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. The new school would be a good idea. So Tyler, we ended up moving into term 1 because he was just so miserable where he was and having lots of, the school had put him in a box kind of thing. So I took that opportunity in the holidays to really talk to him about, you have an opportunity now to step into the person you are and who you want to be. You don't have to be who you think you need to be. You don't have to be who those people made you feel you needed to be. You can actually be who you want to be now, and people will see you from the start as that person.
Yes.
So that worked really well for Tyler, and he had a fantastic last 3 terms of this year, and just a different kid altogether because he had a fresh start, and nobody had preconceived ideas of who he was or whatever.
So good.
And he could actually be who he was trying to be that no one was seeing. So yeah, definitely a good idea, I think.
Absolutely. Thanks for that. That's awesome, Martine. Thank you. All right, use the group, Chris. But the faster you get through this whole program, start again. Don't start at the start. Start at love languages. Start at the pillar 1, and go through. And do not stop until you get to the end. Like, just make a habit every day. Watch one video, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes. Every day, watch one. And if you haven't watched one today, then don't go to sleep yet. Stay up another 12 minutes. Like, no matter what, just make a commitment to yourself. No matter if I have to lose sleep. If that's the only way I can find time is to lose 15 minutes of sleep, I'll lose 15 minutes of sleep. The value of that 15 minutes watching a video that can change things for your family is worth more than the value that 15 minutes of sleep is going to give you anyway. Okay?
Yeah, definitely.
And you're in the conscious community, so that's where you get your personal support. And in here, you get parenting support. So you've got all your bases covered. Okay? Good on you, darling. All right, Miss Ebb, to you, gorgeous. Oh, sorry, I just muted you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you?
Hello, good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm excellent. How are you feeling, first of all? I know it can be a bit of a mixed bag of emotions when you get a diagnosis for your child, but, it's like, well, there's relief, but then there's also that feeling of, burden, I guess, and grief, because it's, none of us plan to have children with those issues. And so you don't end up, with the child that you thought you'd have. So all of that is valid. So first of all, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I suppose I have my moments, like, with everything. But yeah, I mean, I think in a way I'm happy because, like you said, I can focus on what I need to do to help her. So that's going to be really good.
How does she respond to it? Does she know? Have you told her you've got autism? Or
no? And that's what I was maybe going to ask, how to sort of approach that and what to say. There's so many questions I've got. I can't obviously do it all tonight. So, but since like I said, I've started the melatonin, and that's going to let me come on the calls now. So that'll be good because I can start asking more questions. Probably, I mean, probably the main question to start with would be, well, what I was going to talk about was how to deal with meltdowns, because they've been going on for so long and I've obviously not been dealing with them right, because, or maybe I have, I don't know, but I just don't know how to deal with them. And also Owen, how to deal with him, because he cops a lot of it and he gets scared.
So there's two things. There's two
Yeah.
kinds of meltdowns. There's a meltdown that is their experience, and then there's a meltdown that breaks furniture and that hurts other people.
Yeah, that's her meltdowns. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's the kind of meltdown that needs to have boundaries. Okay.
Mm,
He needs to feel safe, of course. Like he can't be
Yeah.
attacked by his sister.
yeah.
How old is he now? 3,
He's 4 and she's 6.
4, and 6. Okay, cool. So, so when it comes to those kind of meltdowns, there needs to be very just strong boundaries, understanding that while she's in the meltdown,
Mm,
she can't regulate her thoughts and stop that. You
Yep.
absolutely do have to take over, and it is your responsibility to keep
Yep.
everyone safe. So
Yep.
in that moment, even if you have to pin her down, like you don't like pull her or shove it, you're better to just hold her.
yeah.
It's got to be pretty strong, and you're pretty tiny. But
It is like, yeah, I try to do that, but she's already very strong. But
Can I just suggest something?
Yeah.
Don't be too hard on yourself as a mum either. Like, remember that you've got to have time for you. And when it comes to the meltdowns, just making sure that you're safe and your other child is safe as well. And whatever they break can be replaced.
yeah.
for stuff.
great.
But for Owen, but for a person, you need to not let him be hurt, because he deserves
Yeah.
to be safe too, right? So it's a
Yeah.
really good
Yeah.
point. Really good
Yeah.
point. So yeah, you need to make some decisions around what matters to you. First of all, anything that's truly sentimental and really holds value, you need to remove that from the space so that there's no
Mhm.
possibility. If something does break, like Christy has said, it's something that can be fixed, might not be ideal or whatever, but you can deal with it better than, like, it would be gutting for you if she broke something that was your grandma's that's meant
Yeah.
something. So first of all, you be responsible for the environment, okay?
Mhm.
Now, you don't always want to pin her down or anything, but if she's hurting him, instant,
Yeah.
he has to be the priority.
Yeah.
Don't hit her, don't yell at her. Like,
Yeah.
she needs to feel safe too, because she's in a dysregulated state. Okay. These aren't choices. Okay.
No.
What you need
Yeah.
to keep in your mind is she is not choosing to do this. There's no cognitive awareness around this. Okay.
Mhm.
So all you do is keep people safe. And you can even say to her, like if you're holding on to her and she's trying to get away, you say, Penny, I am keeping everybody safe. All right. When you choose to hit your brother or whatever, I need to keep him safe. Okay. So that
Yeah.
she knows that any contact she's getting from you is with intentions of keeping others safe. And when she hears that message long enough, she'll do things that doesn't affect other people if she catches herself early enough in the meltdown. Right.
Yeah.
Outside of that, you also don't want the burden of having to wait for hours and you're having to deal with her for hours. And then during those 2 hours or whatever it is that she goes on for, that, Owen's by himself and you can't do certain things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to decide, having an area in the house, even if that's her bedroom, that if she needs to, if people and furniture and things like that aren't safe, then that's the space that she can be put in. But she's not in trouble when she goes in there. It's you need your own safe space right now. I can see that you are needing your space. Okay. It is not safe for other people to be around you, and it is not okay to break the furniture and hurt other people. So you've shown me that you need to be in your bedroom, but it's not like, that's it, go to your room. How dare you? She's not in trouble. It's a safe space for her. And then you need to let go at that point and let her do what she does in her bedroom, even if that means that she destroys it a little bit, even if she fucking puts a hole in the wall, like, can be fixed.
Got 2 holes in the we got 2 holes in the walls.
Don't even worry about fixing that until later, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
go ahead.
That's the thing. Like, so I do feel horrible, because at the very start, before I sort of knew what was going on, because it's been going on for a long time, I assumed it was like behavior and I would get angry at her. and now I feel bad about that, like really bad about that. But I can't change that. I just have to.
You can fix it. You just have that conversation. You say, hey,
Yeah.
you tie it all in with the autism statement. Okay. So if
Yeah,
you want her to know, because the school's probably going to say things, or she's going to be, have some kind of label anyway. So it's okay to let her know. And you don't want to keep it a secret, because if you keep it a secret and then she finds out later, it actually attaches shame to it. It's like, why don't you tell me what's shameful about that? Why, So you need to say to her, hey, Penny, we've been seeing the doctors or whatever it is you've done, been to that appointment and we saw that doctor. Well, I've told you before that some people's brain works differently, and you've got one of those special brains that's going to be really, really super, super gifted at something that you want to do in this life. And that means that your brain works differently to most people. So the rest of the world is not going to understand you the same, and you might not understand the world the same, because your brain is one of those special brains that works really differently. You can even find some, heroes that have autism, like a Jim Carrey or something like that, who's has his brain's like yours, and his brain and her brain's like yours, and things like that, so that she can build a good association and doesn't feel like she's not enough, right? Some of these people, these are the people that do amazing things with their life, but as children it was hard for them because their brains work differently. Now then you can teach her so I don't know if you've heard of it before, but there's a name that they call these kind of brains, and they call this kind of brain autism brain. Have you heard of autism before? Ask her. Let her just talk about it. Just let her have a space, right?
Yeah.
And so you can say to her, so on all of that, I actually want to, Mummy needs to apologize to you, because in the past, when you've done some of these things, like when you used to get angry and you've done this and you broke the wall and maybe name a few things, in those moments, I didn't know that you had the different brain. I thought you were just choosing to be naughty, but now I know you weren't being naughty. That's how your brain works when it doesn't understand something and it can't regulate itself. So I'm sorry, all of those times that I told you off, that's my fault, because I didn't know that you had one of these special brains. And now that I do know you have this special brain, if ever you need some space, you won't be in trouble, but your room will be your safe space. Okay. So if ever you need that safe space, you're not going to be in trouble. I'm not going to say, go to your room and don't come out. I'm not going to do that anymore, because I know that your brain needs to process things its own way. I still have to look after Owen, and I have to keep people safe. And so there's going to be times where you might need to be by yourself for a little while, but you're safe and you're not in trouble. And I'm sorry for all the times that I put you in trouble, because it was me that made the mistake, because I didn't understand that you had one of these special brains.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I like that. Thank you.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah. The other thing was also with Owen, I do feel like I don't know what's going on in his head, because he originally would get scared, which is fair enough, and I did keep him safe. Like he didn't get hurt or anything, but she did try and throw things at him and stuff. But now it's even more scary, because now he kind of just shuts off and he'll like sit there and watch TV and ignore it, which makes me more scared. That's like, and I've talked to him about it after it's happened. I said, how did you feel about what just happened? And he said, I was scared, but he didn't show that at all. He just sat there and just watched TV.
That's his coping mechanism. That will change over time when there's a new pattern that allows him to feel safe to come back in. So you want to set up an area in her room and out somewhere, so that you don't always want it to go to her room. Like the room is like the last thing. But if she needs to have a meltdown, it's like you're allowed to feel what you're feeling, and you can do it out here. But if you choose to be out here, whatever, you might have some boundary. It needs to be over there where all the beanbags are, or you can't break the furniture. Like, it's okay for you to have boundaries. Just because they've got a label doesn't mean we give them free rein, right? They still have to learn to live in a society.
Because I feel like I'm always trying to control her, or stop, like, not try and stop her from hurting him. So then I'm not actually giving him any attention. I'm just letting him deal with it,
and he will,
which I can't be in both places.
So true. That's so true. So absolutely. So you need to have some safe places so that you can give her green lights, not red lights. Instead of saying stop that, you can say, Penny, if you need to throw something, go over there and throw that. Or if you need to jump on something, no jumping on the lounge, but you can jump over there on those beams. Like you need there's weighted blankets. I think Christy was saying this, crash mats, weighted blankets. If you look up there's so many people in this group that could give you help with autism. So
Yeah,
you'll post in the group, what are some things I could buy or use to be able to give her an outlet when she does have anger that she can't control and she does need to, have a meltdown, make a space that's safe for her to do that. That's maybe both somewhere out in the house and also in her room for the times where she needs to be put in her room so that you can keep other people safe. And that's all the conversation ever is. Even when she comes down, you say, hey, you're not in trouble. You were only put in your room because I needed to keep Owen safe and you were making choices that weren't safe. And I know they weren't your choices, but you were doing some things that weren't safe. And I know that's not your fault. That was just your brain doing that, but that's why you were in your room. You're welcome to come out as soon as you like, darling. I'd love to have you out here. So there's always like this nice ending. It's never like you did that and now you're in there in shame and guilt and you feel awkward to come out.
Yeah. And what should I sort of say to Owen, like when it's happening? Or
you need to say to him, you know what, this is really hard, isn't it? It must be hard to have a sister. Do you know that your sister, her brain works differently? And that's why she has these kind of feelings that she doesn't know how to process. And it's different to your brain and it's different to mummy's brain. So we need to try to help her when we can, but it's always okay to keep yourself safe. So if she's ever making you feel like you're not safe, just know you could even... You don't want to go too far overboard with telling him, she loves you, because you don't want a child, because I've seen lots of families go, she loves you, she just can't help it. Yeah. It's like, or they say, daddy loves you, but, but he doesn't see you. Like, I know daddy really loves you.
I totally agree.
We have that conversation, right? Do not teach your children.
Yeah, because I feel like that's already, he's already like that, like,
okay,
he already feels bad for her, like and feels guilty about what she does, and I'm like, it's not your fault, but like he already has that, like he already has that a bit. So
you need to validate that. So you don't tell them that their dad doesn't love them, but if ever they say like anything about that, just don't volunteer, but daddy loves you. No, because what you're basically saying is this is what love looks like, this is what love feels like. They learn that's the blueprint of love.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't feel like love, if they say daddy hates me, do not turn around and go, no, he doesn't. Daddy loves you. You say, it must feel so hard to feel like daddy hates you. And I can see why you feel like that sometimes. Daddy hurts your heart sometimes when he makes these choices, doesn't he? That must be hard for you. You can say daddy doesn't hate you, but daddy does make some bad choices sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? But don't say daddy loves you, because then you're literally programming them.
Yeah.
That rejection, abandonment, criticism, judgment, distance, all of these things is what love is.
Yeah.
And they intuitively know it and feel it. That's why they say it. Daddy doesn't love me. You just say it must be hard to feel like that. It must really hurt your heart to feel like daddy doesn't love you. You're not confirming it, but you're also not denying it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And let them work out what love naturally feels like. That feels like love. That doesn't feel like love. I think I'm working out what love is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Shara's just written to you because her children have ADHD and ASD, or her 4.5-year-old. But don't all your children have that, Shara? Yeah, same as Christy. She got 4 children with ADHD and ASD as well. Yeah. And Martine has ASD. Who else is on here? Sarah's just joking. Oh, both Sarah's on here. ASD. Sarah Pacquiao just ASD. So we've got a big ASD call tonight. Shara's just saying, her comment's really good. I think you should read that yourself. But she's saying the third pillar is her home at the moment, and it will be the third pillar. The appreciative praise in the first pillar, just that section on effective praise, which is in the first pillar, and all of the third pillar will absolutely help you. Or even, not necessarily the family solidarity and all that, but all of the language to use and everything is all in the third pillar. Like, you've just got to really be hot on all of your language and things like that. The best you can be at that. Expect nothing for 3 to 6 months. Especially with an ASD brain, they need so much repetition and to the point where when you do this, ask Martine or Sarah. I think it was I think Sarah said in the group the other day how Anthony, who's only 6, said to his sister something about her choices, and like the parenting language came out of a 6-year-old's mouth.
Yeah.
So how good's that, right? So it does sink in.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the kind of long-term soul you're going to need. And I have both too, by the way. So soul parenting. Oh yeah, that's right, Shara. You're in soul parenting. Yeah. You've got to touch base and see how that's going for you. You're loving it? Helping? Yeah. Loving it? Yeah. Yeah. You know about the soul parenting program, Eb. So when you're ready, just
Yes.
yeah. To do that. So also Martine saying that she'll come around to your house. Obviously, you guys know each other outside of the program. So
Yeah, well, she was going to come and help me with some things, so that'll be really good.
Yeah. Yep, Soul can be covered by NDIS. You just need to reach out to me privately, and we can invoice you. Yep, we can get it covered from NDIS. No problem. Yes, that's, take a little bit at a time. It's good that you might have 100 questions, but we'll just start with those 2 questions so that you can feel empowered in yourself, that you can nail that and then come back and add to it, and then practice that and come back and add to it. Okay.
Yeah.
But anything you need, put it up in a group, put it in the group. Honestly, I'm not even the person that can help you anywhere near as much as all these mums that have ASD children.
Yeah.
Particularly, the ones that have got multiple children, that have been dealing with it for years, that have worked out what doesn't work, that have made the mistakes, and the people like, Martine and Nicole, who also are teachers, and they not only have their own ASD children, but they've also worked with ASD children. They've got all different personalities and age groups wrapped into that. So use the group. All right.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. Good point, Shara. Love that. If you fuck up, breathe through it, and better script and response for next time. So good. She reads the scripts on the toilet. It's awesome. I love that. All right, babe. Well, yell out if you need something, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Worries. All right. Our last question for tonight is with you, Miss Shara. So, regressive bedtimes. A couple of things around this, first of all. You need to pick your battles. I'm going to start with this and then we'll have a conversation, okay? You need to decide what's actually important to you, okay?
Yeah.
Because honestly, I just want to, it's okay if you care about it. You don't have to be me, but why do you care if a couple of kids end up sleeping in the same bed? Why is that a problem to you?
It wouldn't normally. It's just my back and my sleeping is so bad that I then don't sleep because I'm expecting one of them or all of them to wake up. So I then just don't go to sleep and wait.
Do you think that if they sleep together and you're not in their bed, but they're together, that then they'll wake each other up and then come wake you up? Is that how you mean? Okay, that's important to know.
Yeah, they'll keep finding me. They all have separation anxiety. Predominantly my oldest and youngest, mostly. My middle guy is the one that is flagged higher with his ASD. He comes and goes. It's like when the whole family's feeling overwhelmed, it's like he senses it and then he starts doing the same thing.
Okay.
And it's in the middle of the night. I then get so caught up with kids and arms and legs everywhere. And we have 5. Have I ever shown you the size of my husband? Right.
Yeah.
So if we're trying to all sleep in the same bed and it's a super king and we're all tangled together, I then just go and escape into one of the other beds and then find me in there. And then okay, then you go to sleep in there and then I'll go back into
that's not cool. So a couple of things, right? Because we might need to do this in stages given all of their issues, right?
Yeah.
First of all, I would suggest that the highest priority is you getting some sleep. And second priority is getting them to learn how to go to sleep and stay in their beds, right?
Yeah.
So I would even suggest that you don't have to have it set up, but to have some mattresses that if they come in, they pull down from the wall and they can all sleep on the floor around you, but not in your bed, right? So it's like there's going to be a bit of a boundary. You can be, Shara, to give yourself a break, even if you start by going, cool, every night everyone's just we're sleeping over for 2 weeks in here.
We do.
Okay. And then what? So they won't stay on the ground in your room? They have to get up in your bed, or they will stay on the ground if you give them that boundary?
It's been a bit of a, because we moved about 6 months ago, and that's when the regression started big time, and I kind of expected it, so I allowed it. You know, they had been getting used to sleeping in their own beds, even if it was only for some of the night. I was celebrating. And then it progressively got worse, where when we came to this new house, my son just did not feel a good feeling about sleeping in his own bed. So we moved him and his brother back into their room together. That seemed to work for a while. And then same with I'm in my little girl's room now. They're all now sleeping with my husband in the main bedroom now.
But on the floor or in the bed?
In the bed. So
Okay.
then we'll sleep in one of the kids' rooms.
We have to stop it. We have to do a hard yards for a week if we have to. Okay. It's not cool. You can't live like this. So
No.
will they sleep on the floor and not get in the bed if they can be in the room on the floor? Will they do that or they won't?
We used to do that with my oldest because I had them so bang, bang, bang after each other. I had babies with babies. So like, I think, and then it's like they all got jealous of, you know, other babies having more attention. So they all wanted to be in the same room, and I
So
breastfed.
now will they stay on the floor together now and not come in the bed? Have you tried that recently?
I want to try it in the new house, but my husband's a bit funny about it. But for some reason, he's okay with them all being in the same room. So it's a bit like,
If they're all in the same room, they wake each other up and come into you.
yes, literally.
Can you put them all in the same room in different beds, even if all the mattresses go on the floor and they've all got their own space and mattress and one room is nothing but beds?
Yeah, well, I'm ready to put my foot down on that. I'm thinking we're just going to try that and then just slowly but surely make them back into their own room. But it's so frustrating. We'll have nights where I'm really consistent, keep the routine, and then they all sleep in their own rooms for like 2 nights in a row. And I'm like, oh my God, we're past a hurdle. And then slowly but surely they'll start waking up in the night again, come and find me, and then I'm doing the hopscotch again. Or
So
taking.
if they do it and then you don't, it's because, okay, if they do it and then all of a sudden a few nights later they don't, that night you have to be ruthless.
Yes.
You have to detach emotionally completely, go cold and like callous and barely even care about what they're experiencing, and be so strong on that boundary, even if it means you lose the whole night's sleep, even if you have to get up and walk them back and then come back and then they come back 20 seconds later and you get up and you do it 15 times. You don't go there, sleep there, and then come back once they're asleep, because part of what makes kids do that is if you're going to leave once they're asleep, you at least have to tell them that. Okay. This is a big sleep issue with lots of kids. Lots of the reason that 3 and 4-year-olds have sleep issues is because the mum and dad go and lay down with them and they don't say, once you're asleep, mummy's going to go in her own bed. So if you wake up, mummy won't be here. And then the child goes to sleep knowing you were there before. And the second they come to that little bit of consciousness out of their sleep and they feel and you're not there, they're blindsided. They can't trust you. They don't know. And so then they stop themselves from dropping into deep sleep cycles. So if you're going to go there and come back, they at least have to know mummy's going to lay with you for 3 minutes, or mummy's going to lay with you until you're asleep. And when you are asleep, I am going back to my own bed. And if you come into my room, you are not sleeping in my bed. I will bring you back to your room and I will leave you and I won't lay with you next time. You could even have that boundary, right?
Yeah.
You have to be so strong, even if it means you lose sleep for 3 nights. I actually think it sounds like your kids they respond, but you're not being harsh enough.
I get so exhausted, I just let the grip.
That's why I said the first problem is that you need some sleep so that you stock up on some energy for like you. My first response is for 2 weeks, I don't care where they sleep as long as you get to sleep all night. That's all I care about. I don't care what arrangement, all together, whatever. For 2 weeks, or at least a week, 10 days, you need sleep so that your hormones, your whole endocrine system can replenish.
Yeah.
And then you'll have the energy to lose a week worth of sleep while we sort them all out.
Yeah. That's half the battle, is because I'm naturally so I have ADHD and ASD. It's all come out of the woodworks from having my kids diagnosed. I have been an insomniac my whole life. I've known no different. So it was kind of like we joked about it when we first started having kids. They're like, "Oh, you're used to being awake." I'm like, "Yeah, I am." It's no problem.
Yeah.
No, but there's a difference.
No, there's a absolutely.
Newborn stage, you'll get over it, and it's just never ended.
Yeah.
Just now got it, and now
Don't
I don't
believe that. They don't get over it. Nah. And, you know, some people are like, oh, you know, we're all built to like sleep together. It's also very healthy for children to sleep by themselves. So it's good for their it's not good for their immune system to be waking up this many times a night. So my first thing is if you like you have a family meeting, right? So you've obviously looked at that in the third pillar and whatever. Call a family meeting to like really be vulnerable. Say, guys, I've really got a problem and I really need your help on it. I'm here to share what my problem is. I'm asking for your input and your ideas. And I'm also here to discuss some boundaries that we're going to put in place moving forwards as a family. Because I'm feeling, get emotional first. Go like, I'm feeling like I can't be a good mum. I can't be the mum that I want to be. Like my dream of the mum I want to be, I can't do that because every day I get snappy and I'm so tired and I'm getting exhausted because my body isn't getting the rest that it needs. And it's not okay with me that means I can't be the mum that I want to be. So I'm going to be really strong on my boundaries now, because as you get strong on your boundaries, even if it hurts their feelings, you're being an example to them that it's okay to have boundaries that strong for them in their life, right? So it's a win-win. Even if they're hurt by it, doesn't matter, you win anyway, because you tell them it's okay for other people to be hurt if it means you have to do something to protect yourself. Don't worry about other people. I don't worry about you when you've got your feelings, when I need to put in a boundary for myself. So like it's a really good example for them to see that played out, okay? So don't be the parent that does everything for their children. You fuck them up more than you help them, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you do a family meeting. This is the deal. So what I'm going to do is, I understand it's not fair on me that I'm not getting my sleep. It's also not fair on you guys that we go from what we're doing to all of a sudden, boom, you're all in your own rooms. So I'm agreeing for the next week until New Year, probably a good time to do it. Christmas, New Year, holidays, until New Year, for example, something like that, like have a bit of a milestone that they can hook their minds on. Until this date, we're going to clear out the bedroom tomorrow, put everyone's mattress in there. It's going to be one big sleepover room. This will be the sleepover room. This will be the playroom. And, you know, you guys will have each other. You do not have me and you will not have me. And if anybody comes into my room, they will not be getting what you need to do. Your boundary has to be they cannot get in your bed again, ever. Even if they're sick, you go in their bed. They cannot come in your bed. The second they come to the edge of it, I don't care how tired you are, you're going to have to get up, tag team with your husband, take in turns. You get up, you walk them back, you put them back, you come back. They cannot get in your bed. If you are just done for the night, you go sleep in their bed. Do not let them they cannot get in your bed.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the first thing. My boundary, my space, adult space, me and daddy. This is the deal. We're important too. Our bodies need it. We need to respect our bodies. No one gets in our bed. No one. If you come in, I will be taking you back to your bed. I don't care if I have to do it 100 times. I will be taking you back. You will not be getting in my bed. That's the first thing you need. Just that. Let them all have a sleepover if you want to try that first, just so that it's quicker for you to get your sleep. They might wake up the first few nights. You've got to have to take them back. You've got to prove to them that you mean what you say. You've got to keep your word, because it also builds trust. So that then later, when they all go in their own beds and you say, you're okay, they instantly trust you, because they're programmed to know that what you say is true. You say, don't bother coming into mummy. Don't call out. If you call out to me tonight, I'm not coming. It's okay if you need to cry for a little while. I'm not coming to you. Eventually, when we get to that stage, they will know. They'll wake up, and before they even wake themselves up with them, you know, like with an idea of coming to get you, they'll be like, I know my mum's not going to get me, and they'll drop us straight back into the next sleep, into the next sleep cycle. Eventually, it might take us a week to get to that, especially because there's 4 of them. Okay.
Well.
Okay?
My husband being one of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. 3 of them. Sorry. Yeah. I was thinking of Christy. Yeah. So you need to start with that. Okay. First thing is you need your sleep. I don't care what you have to do with the kids, whatever. Just you go get your sleep, and they cannot come in your bed. So the only night you don't get sleep is when you're getting up and putting them back and putting them back and putting them back. I'm happy for you to lose sleep for that reason.
Yeah.
No other reason. Tag team with your husband, and don't tag team turn for turn. I think it works better if you go, I'll do this hour, you do the next hour. Not like 12 to 1 and then you do 1 to 2, because if they don't come in between 1 and 2, then you do nothing. It's like the first time they come in, I do an hour. When my hour's up, from that point, whenever they come in next, you're doing the next hour so that you can get some continuous sleep. Or you do before 3 a.m. and he does after 3 a.m. or something, which I know it might be hard with your husband. You might have to, but somewhere you need some help.
Yeah.
Okay. If not, if you really have to suck this up and do it yourself,
I probably will.
if that's what you really have to do, then you have to decide ahead of time. I might end up with a week with no sleep. What's the difference? I'm not sleeping anyway, so there's no difference. So that you don't engage energetically too much by getting angry or being dismissive. You have to be very neutral in your energy.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a video that I did like 7 years ago, that all the principles apply for your kids, even though in that video I was talking about toddlers because somebody asked a question, but all the principles are the same. I want you to watch it. I'm in like a white jumper with like really blonde hair. It's like, it says how to get your kids to go to bed and stay in bed. So if you go into any of the groups, the public group or the online program, and just type in like, get kids to go to bed, it will come up. I'm in a white jumper in my car. I think I've got my seatbelt on. Anyway, you can see I'm sitting in a car with like a white knitted jumper and like white blonde hair, basically. You need to watch that. It goes for like half an hour so that you've got all the principles down pat and you understand what I'm talking about here. And you watch it over and over every day. So it floods your brain with this whole, so that in a moment where you're feeling guilty for the child and blah, 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 you're like coming back to what you hear in that video.
Okay. I can
And you're not going to desert their needs. If they have a need, you're going to respond to it. If they are protesting, you will never respond to a protest, but you will respond to a need. Okay, so that you don't create trauma. So that video explains the difference between them. Okay, you need some sleep first if you can. If you can't, then you're just going to have to suck it up and do this. And if that's the case, if it's not going to work like this, if it doesn't work like this within 3 days, fuck the whole idea of all of them in one room. We're just going to go straight cold turkey. We're going to go like straight for the end result.
Yeah. Okay.
If it's not working, tell them that. The deal is, guys,
we'll try and make this work.
I'm going to do this. I want to be as fair to you as I can. And I'm asking you to be fair with me. My body needs some sleep. I'm going to be fair and I'm going to let you guys sleep together so you're not by yourself. If this does not work, that's what I'll be changing. If there's no other option, I will put you all in an individual room. And I don't care if I don't sleep for a week. We will go through the hard yards so that you guys can learn to go to sleep and stay asleep so that my body can also get what it needs. That's going to be the alternative. Either you guys learn to sleep with each other and not need me, or everyone will be going in their own rooms.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to call a family meeting to do that first so that they know what's going to happen, so that then even if you have to be the harshest bitch with like implementing what you said, they don't even hate you for it. They trust you for it because you said this was going to happen. So now, even though I don't like what you're doing, you are keeping your word. You are doing what you told me you'd do. So this isn't like catching me off guard. Okay?
Yeah.
We've got to get them sleeping for sure. You'll change as a person if you get sleep.
I think that I won't even know myself.
I know. It'll be the best. Yep, I can do it. I just need to communicate with you through it. So the next 2 weeks, I'm off anyway, but use the group, okay? And if I'm like, if I've got random moments and I see a post or something, it doesn't mean I won't respond. But get this done. If they need to sleep together, do it for the next 2 weeks. And then we'll, hopefully by then you've got some sleep. And then we'll crack down and we'll get them sleeping within a week, all 4 of them, all 3 of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay?
Routine.
Even with ASD, whatever, I don't care. At the end of the day, everyone needs sleep. Everyone's body needs sleep.
Yeah. They've been really responding to everything that I've been implementing, like the different way I'm speaking, like setting these boundaries and the routines and stuff. It's the minute a routine that we've set and they've been used to has to get disrupted for any kind of reason. It's like everything lights on fire and I have to start from square one again.
That's autism.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's the different brain they've got. You got one of those brains too, which probably makes it easy for you to just not really care that you're breaking the cycle, but you need to know that you cannot, there can't be leeway.
yeah, definitely why I thought the sole parenting is definitely helping. My ADHD brain is worst at night. So as in the dopamine, seeking dopamine. Hearing all of the stuff that you said earlier about, technology, that's me. I was like going, oh God, that's me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that. So like you talking about your children, the way their technology brain is chasing the dopamine, that's me. I've been now refocusing it on your videos every night. I'm like,
Oh, good. That's a great idea because it
this
serves
shit
you.
fucking wrong, didn't it? So I'll go, what did she say? I feel like there was a video on this, and then I'll go hunting back for the videos.
Oh, that's fantastic. See, if you channel it in the right area, you can literally you've got a gifted brain. I mean, it can, give you an uppercut and give you a bit of a left hook and take you out. Or if you can be aware of it, you have a gift, and you can absorb information. If it's resonating and it's relevant, your brain can absorb things at twice the pace someone else's brain can.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. Well, there you go. Thank you for sharing that and for validating that point. And yeah, well, there you go. You get to hear my voice every night before bed. Isn't that amazing?
Kids do too. So if I am in the bed with them, they're like, oh, Holly, oh, Holly. Yeah.
That's good.
I
That's
just
good.
need to be a better mum, right? So
There you go. Yep. Do implement this, keep me posted in the group, put a post, you reach out for help if you need. If it's midnight and they're not asleep, or it's 2 a.m. and you feel like you want to throw them through the window, get in the group at 2 a.m. and make a post and vent. It's fine. It doesn't mean we'll all respond. We'll all be like, oh fuck, she had a hard night. But yeah, at least you've got a space to go to keep yourself distracted instead of buying into this stuff. Okay. But go watch that. Go type in that how to get your kids to go to bed and stay in bed. Type in some of those words and it'll come up. You'll see it.
Okay.
If you can't find it, let me know and I'll find it for you. But it's easy. It'll come up easy.
Okay.
Okay. Well, people, you guys all have a Merry Christmas. And I don't know what you guys are doing for New Year, but hopefully somewhere in all of that, you can, do something a bit of an adult style and not just have to be a parent. So, thank you for everything. Thank you for, all the contribution that all of you make to this group, whether it's in the Facebook group or on these calls or just, even the private messages I get from you sometimes, especially the gratitude that so many of you reach out to me. It touches me all the time. And yeah, I just want to say thank you, because as much as I know I've been a part of your journey, you're also a really big part of mine. And it means a lot to me that I get to live my purpose work because of you guys. So thank you for what that offers to my life and the significance I feel and the fulfillment that I get to live with. It does make a difference to me, and it wouldn't if you weren't open to receiving from me and to, plugging into this group and making the community what it is. So thank you to all of you for an epic year. And I will see you guys on the other side.
Thanks, Holly.
No worries, beautiful people. See ya.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.